All right, how's it going, everyone? This is Anon. I just want to throw out the disclaimer that none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial professional, and investing obviously carries risks, so do your own due diligence. But anything discussed here is for entertainment purposes only. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Drake Beast, yes. How's it going? Z Akbar, Eric David, woo, yeah. What's up, Chris? All right, let me go ahead and bring up. I gotta do a yeah, I disagree. What's up, Matt? Boston. Yeah, I am not a financial professional. Trust me, I'm not. And I'm not qualified to give you guys financial advice. Therefore, be careful. Do your own due diligence. All right. So we need also to get the options chains up, and we can throw some Weeble on there too. I have to figure out why. It's probably because of this thing. There we go. All right. Finna drop the load on us. Yeah. Not sure what to accept, up or down. Here for the thrill. Yeah, it's going. It's going, guys. All right, so let's do this also. Let's pull up. I need to probably tell people in the Discord that I'm doing the YouTube thing. And so give me a second. I'll go ahead and update everybody in the Discord and just let them know I'm gonna do this. But yeah, fun day, right? It was a little boring in the middle, but picked up at the end. It was exciting in the beginning, and then the middle was boring, and the end was exciting. So. All right, there we go. Now it's posted. What's going on, Z? What's going on, John? Win. Very nice of you to say, Drake, but yeah, I'm not. I'm just a dumb retailer. I just have a little more practice than some other people. So, but yeah, none of this stuff is financial advice. It's just, me talking about stocks, and it's mainly for entertainment purposes. Last night you said FTDs don't really matter, correct? Well, that's if they even gave us our FTDs, right? The entire market, they didn't give us FTDs for April. Because my guess is there's tons of stocks that are on like 100% utilization, and they're just buying time. Slip a new job to a retiring SEC person and make sure that data doesn't come out. We're having technical difficulties. What's up, Keith? What's up, Random? Yeah, I didn't do it. Like and subscribe, John says. What's up, Dan? What's up, Aloha? What's up, Willie? Yeah, I hope everyone has a great day tomorrow, too. Interesting day with the messed up FTD report. Yeah, I seem to recall they did this back in, I want to say it was like January or February of last year, which would have been during when GameStop was running. I think they messed up the FTDs then, too. And it took a while for them to get it out. They did a duplicate just like this. That might be a good sign. Just throwing that out there. I don't know. I have to really tap back my memories because I don't remember. But I do remember there was something messed up. It was late, or it was days late. I think they initially put out the wrong report. All right. see. When people start coming in, can you explain DZ's DD today? Went all over my head. Yeah, let me pull up his DD, because I've read it. I'm gonna be honest. I read it like in my bed at like 6 in the morning, and then I've had a whole day of like other stuff going on. So I have not. I have to like go back and remember all that what he said, but that's fine. We can do that. Let's go through. Pull up DZ stuff. Where is DZ stuff? It's probably at the top, right? Alright, now I'm going to go search. Hold on a second. DZ _ Moneyman. Here we go. Here we go. So he wrote it like 21 hours ago. So I'll pull that up to the side and we can kind of maybe go through it. All right, let's see. So we need to cover DC's DD and kind of translate that for, the normal people. We retest the 7 range in 1 to 2 days. Yeah, that's very possible. I mean, obviously, if we pull up, what I want to see, especially though, is I want to see this start building a little bit of volume pick up, and then so here's the thing, like volume's like important, but it's not like we've gotten to the point where there's not a lot of shares trading around. So every time there's a dip, it seems like, institutions or retail or something is buying it up. So you can tell like all throughout basically this phase right here, they've been trying to drop it and they're having trouble right now. So, but yeah, we can definitely retest that 7 range. I kind of spoke about that last time and said we're going to probably try and retest that, recent high. So, what are your thoughts on Gurk? He said he doesn't think ATER's set up for a squeeze. He bought puts on ATER. Yeah, I mean, he's more than welcome to do that. I had shown him, some of my stuff, and this is like months ago, and he was like, I'm not sure, he's obviously very much in GameStop. I'm looking at a lot of data also, and from what I see, I mean, there's, ATER is the number one Fintel, short squeeze. It's got 40%, short interest. It's got high cost to borrow. It's got all the recipe for a short squeeze. So, personally, I'm long the stock. I've been long the stock for a while, and, I think it's going up. So he can buy puts all he wants on, Aterian. A lot of people think that, it's a matter of time, in my opinion. So, but yeah, he and I did talk about it once on Discord. I did go back in my notes. He said he was going to look at it, and I don't think his guys ever looked at it. Let me just go back. I did talk to him at one point. And I went on there and I tried to talk to people, and I realized that, they were all they wanted to talk about was GameStop, and I was like, all right, that's fine. So, but yeah, I do have a thing where I did talk to Gurk. Where was it? I won't throw the conversation up, but let me just see if there's anything that was said. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I sent him off something back in February, and I wanted him to take a look at the Wyckoff, and I kind of showed him the setup that I was seeing. he said he was going to run models on it. And this is back in February, so he was like, he didn't think that. He's like, listen, this thing has all the technicals in the world, but there's not enough buying pressure at this point. Like he said, basically, like there's not enough people in it. That was kind of, and he says everyone gets that way. Good setup, but if you don't have the people, then it's not going to do anything. Well, I think Aterian's obviously getting people now, so yeah. I mean, he can buy puts all he wants. I mean, in the end, I think this stock is moving higher, so it is what it is. But yeah, I think he's a smart guy. I mean, I've listened to his stuff before, especially when GameStop was still kind of like, he was the only YouTuber talking about GameStop. Everybody else was talking about AMC, so I preferred listening to him. And I think he did work at one point for a financial institution, and he left. So, how's it going, neighbor? What's up, Hustle? What's up, XC? Jason, what's going on? Yeah, we're coming up on that 200, right? I think, what did we change this color to? Changed it to red, but we could change it to any color we want. What color should we make the 200? Anyone have a preference on color? What do we want for color for the 200? All right, I'm letting you guys choose. Pick a color. Or we can customize a color. For the 200. Electric green. All right. So, how's that? Boom. Electric green. So that's where we're sitting right now. Came up above it for a second, got pushed back down, came back up. So, but yeah, you can tell this is when we went over it the last time. They shoved it back down, and now we're coming back up. We're kind of like that, keep getting knocked down, just keeps getting back up, and you're like, God, just stay down. That's probably how they feel about, Aterian, because they're like, why won't you guys just, it's probably the same thing they think about GameStop, just relentless, and eventually it's going to catch up to them. So, yeah, but yeah, going over the 200 and starting a golden cross will bring in technical traders. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I was trying to buy puts or even short red box today once it hit 11, but it was hard to borrow, so I couldn't get anything. So let's do this. Let's go over and get. Where is? Here it is. Should pop up in a second. There we go. Excuse me. My buddy's doing a fellowship at the SEC, said John. Tell your buddy to get their act together and get that FTD report out to us. All right. What helps our cause more? Short in the money calls or long in the money calls? All right, Lex. So once again, this is not financial advice, but if you were talking about market mechanics wise, if you had a short dated, meaning a weekly, like this week, that will cause more hedging from a market maker than, for example, a long in the money call. Because think about this, if your options chains are weeks out, right? For example, this week right here, they don't need to hedge all this stuff right now. They have to hedge a portion of it, but there's a mathematical formula that basically says okay, well, this is still, 11 days away. So you wouldn't need to hedge all of this, so it works the same way. But these things, obviously, the closer it gets to Friday, because it's only 4 days away, your gamma increases, which means that this starts actually weighing in more than something that's down here a week later. So if you were talking about what would cause the most amount of like delta hedging from a market maker, if that's what you're asking there, then it would be the short dated weeklies. So what's up, Blobmaster? G-Man Street. Heck yeah, what's up with those FTDs, man? Yeah, they're not out. All right, I'm out of ammo this month. I wanted to ask, is there any advice in what I could do through the options chains that wouldn't allow me to build up shares with what I have now? I mean, if you're buying options, if you can't afford them, like you're kind of just, it may cause temporary pressure, but unless you make them delivered to you, then it's not doing, they're not hedging every single bullish option because they know retail most of the time can't afford to exercise them. So that's what I'm saying. Like personally, for me, I can afford these 4s. I can probably even afford. If you actually look though, I think these are starting to get better priced now. Once these started getting popular, I think the 2s and the 250s are actually pretty close to actually like. I'll look tomorrow, see what they are, but it looked like these 250s, I think, were actually pretty fairly priced. If you actually like do what's the premium plus what the value of them is, it's better priced now than some of these ones that were bought up earlier today, because these are getting expensive now in comparison. So, but as far as that goes, yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to do anything specific. I mean, you can always, if you weren't planning on selling, if you wanted to put extra pressure, I've DRS most of my common shares months ago, but no one needs to do that if you don't want to. It will take you a day or two to get them out to sell them, so it's not for everyone. But for me, I was playing mainly options, and then I've been buying some new ones, obviously, over the past couple of weeks and letting these options expire in the money. But yeah, it's really up to you. It's none of this stuff is financial advice. So someone mentioned they did the same with AMC, but it was after the squoze. And I don't know what that's in reference to. But maybe the option chain, I'm not sure. I recall GME may be delayed a few hours, but not days. No, I think it was like it was like a day or two behind. Like we were like clamoring on like where the FTD data was. Or maybe it was something else. I do remember there was something like it took a long time for it to come out, or it felt like a long time maybe because I was like not sleeping because, that time was very exciting. All right. My question for tonight, can you please explain what the EO, which goes into effect tomorrow, and then June 3rd. Do you have a link that you can send me, Wilma? I'd have to read through it. I don't want to give you like information on the fly that I'm not like prepared to actually like read through and give you a proper answer. So if you can link that to me, either on here or if you can DM me on the Discord, that'd be great. FTDs is failure to deliver, and they are basically when one side of a transaction fails to deliver their side. So if you can think about it like this, if you place an order with your brokerage, right, and your brokerage says, okay, you now have 1,000 shares of Aterian. When you buy them and it comes into your account, you think, oh yeah, I have these shares. But that's not actually how it works. Your brokerage gives themselves basically 3 days. It's T plus 3 to come up with those shares. And if they do not do that, then it is called what's called a failure to deliver, because you paid them money. You're supposed to have shares in your account, but they don't have your shares. So that is called a failure to deliver. That also can happen if, for example, a short is supposed to locate the shares before they short it. If not, that's called a naked short. If they do not locate the shares before they short them, then that and then they can't come up with those shares later on, that's also a failure to deliver. And so there's a couple different ways you can get a failure to deliver, but basically failure to delivers usually are occurring because some sort of market mechanics are, if there's a problem with liquidity, like for example, Aterian, you have a lot of traffic that's going through here on a stock with not a lot of shares, which means that eventually these FTDs will start building up. And so these failure to delivers are going to be very, very problematic for people like brokers and market makers and shorts and basically everyone but retail, because retail can't fabricate these things. You just buy whatever you get, and they're supposed to be placing it in your account. And if they don't do it, then that's on them. So there's nothing, you don't have to do anything. Like to you, whether it's synthetic or if it's real, it doesn't matter, because they're selling you those shares. Shameful. A peach. I can buy a peach with my dollar. Thank you, Shameful. Appreciate it. I don't know if you're telling me I have like a butt or something. Isn't that the butt emoji? It's the peach. All right. Transcendence. You could sell out of the money covered calls. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. If you have an IV spike, Chris, if you wanted to earn some extra money, you could do that. That is one way. But if the stock runs, then you run the risk of, having it covered. So I would just make sure that you are comfortable with the price, that you would say, okay, I'm willing to sell at this price no matter what happens. So if that's what you're going to do is sell a covered call, then, that's what you can do. You could have put that $1.49 towards your next share, brah. That's what Nikki said. All right. Make sure you do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks, X. Is it ATXC or like ATXC? I don't know. I'll have to figure out how you say your name. Alexander. Yo, thanks for everything you're doing. Appreciate it. Let's get those likes and subs if you haven't gotten to it yet, guys. Thanks, John. What's up, Mason? Thank you very much. Video game controller dances goofily under the word woot. All right, thanks so much, Mason. Appreciate it. Anon's DD is basically about flow and ebb. Yeah, that's kind of it. Because that's the truth about most stocks. Is like they're clearly having liquidity issues. Like they weren't expecting this. They had to basically push up. They were hoping that everyone would get out here, and not everyone got out. So now they're going to be messing around here trying to shake the tree. But, you can see they're trying to make this crossover again, trying to make the MACD crossover. You can kind of tell it's starting to move back over. So this might be a very shallow, oscillating, and then it might switch back into some more buying. It all depends. I mean, obviously, we can look at the options chains, and I don't think the market maker particularly hedged a ton on the call side based off of the volume, unless people are just swinging options all day long. But we'll find out more tomorrow when the open interest comes out. Yeah, 74% of the entire trading went through dark pool. That's how you know there's some fuckery going around. So, yeah, it's 72%. But yeah, I mean, and that's showing you that retail, because retail keeps, not doing lit exchange, trading, that like 21.8 million shares went off market. Like, or at least, sorry, not necessarily shares, but 21 million in volume, which could be buys, sells, all these things. But like that could have been, look at the 30-day. Like the 30-day is almost 60% of the stuff's going off market. So that's just showing you that like retail really needs to find a broker that will allow them to trade on the lit exchange, in my opinion. Like if you're not in a broker that allows you to trade on the lit exchange, then you're not having a voice. It's kind of like pretending to drive a car. Like, you ever seen, like, what was that? Like when you have a fake steering wheel that you let the kids drive. That's essentially what's happening. Like, if you don't have a broker that's allowing you to hit the lid exchange, then essentially all you're doing is you're pretending to drive when somebody else is driving for you. So, all right. So the mod situation ownership of the sub needs to be dealt with. It will only get worse and eventually become unbearable for people. I think you're talking about the Reddit. So I just want to clarify this. The reason I wrote that note was because I get about, like, I don't know, like at least 3 or 4 a day people complaining on the moderator channel that they can't post, and I don't understand. Like, I have 10,000 shares. Why can't I post? And no offense, but like, there's only 2 moderators that are active right now. It's myself and Ninja, and like, it kind of, it takes up a lot of time when you have like 13,000 people posting stuff, and like, because most people don't have high amount of karma, I'm having to like manually approve like every other comment, it seems like. And then if it doesn't go through, if they try to post something and they go, well, how come I can't do this? And I'm just trying to explain, like, listen, like, it'd be nice if we could remove the auto moderator, but the owner that we, of the sub, he's apparently still active. He like goes onto the sub and like looks at stuff, but he doesn't actually do anything. And I wrote a thing to him saying, can I take over the sub? And I heard nothing back. And so what ends up happening then is I wrote the moderators, the Reddit community, and requested ownership of the thing, and they told me no. And then I tried getting ATER stock, which is unmoderated, and they told me no on that one, which I don't really get. I'm like, I'm already a moderator on this other thing. Like, this one is literally unmoderated, and you guys won't let me have access to it, which I think is weird because no one else is offering. So it's still unmoderated, and I was denied access to like ATER, the sub ATER, whatever it is, and it was, So if anyone gets control of that, let me know, and I'll be a mod there too. But, or I don't even have to be a mod. Somebody actually said I shouldn't be a mod, if I'm running the DD. So maybe I have to take a step back. I don't know. At this point right now, I probably need to talk to people that know more about that kind of stuff than me. Can you talk a bit about Aterian? This is from Tom. What they do, what is the potential of the company within e-commerce, and what benefit is their business with Google and Amazon? All right, Tom. So basically, Aterian has their own software. It's like an AI that basically just compares prices and like all sorts of trends. And they have their own brands. And so if we wanted to just kind of, get sidetracked a little bit for anyone that's new and doesn't know this stuff, I think it's Aterian.io or something like that. Yeah, here we go. So just so you can see, this is their website, and this is something you can go on easily, but they have different brands. So if you look at their brands, they own, the biggest brand I think they have is like Home. You might have seen their stuff on Amazon. Let me just see. So they've got the Squatta Potty, obviously that's one that everyone knows. But Home, they make, humidifiers, dehumidifiers, like a whole bunch of like products. Like I actually owned one of these without actually knowing it, because in our basement we have a humidifier, and I actually bought a refrigerator, like a mini fridge for them. And they make all sorts of other things, like a sunrise alarm clock. They got the 120. That's what I got, the 120 can beverage, so I can keep my beers in there. They make, compact things for apartments and BTUs, and so they sell a lot of stuff on Amazon, and also like Walmart and some other places. But they've got Home, they've got Mueller, they've got the Spiralizer, which I actually owned. My wife and I bought that like back in our apartment. Riff 6, which is like computer chairs and stuff like that. They have another like thing that has like health and wellness and yeah. So they have a whole bunch of different brands. Pure Steam to de-wrinkle stuff. Like, so all this, these are all things that are sold on Amazon. So that's what they are. They're an e-commerce company, and they sell their own brands, and they try to be competitive against. Obviously, Amazon has their own, basic brand or whatever it's called. But that's what they do. Is they have a computer software like AI that basically scans through and try to make sure. And they've got a bunch of products that are like number one in their thing. So yeah, they've got potential. The other thing is, I think they're starting to branch out into different like M&A opportunities, which, obviously right now they're cash hungry, but if they were able to raise some money, if this thing does move up in price to like 15 or like 25, and it frees up some money from those warrants, they would be able to continue on with their M&A, which is mergers and acquisitions. Because they do want to grow this brand and grow this. So for them, revenue growth has been their main concern. If you actually listen to the last couple earnings, they basically said we're not so much we're obviously looking at the bottom line, but we want to grow revenue. That's kind of what they've been aiming for, and so far they've been growing revenue, quarter after quarter. So they do have a decent business underlying. It's just they would have been profitable last year had it not been for the shipping crisis. That shipping crisis really screwed them up because all of their stuff was coming out of China. And basically they got hit hard because imagine this, imagine you had a budget all set out and you were doing pretty well. And then all of a sudden they told you that your mortgage for your house is going to go from, 4% to 380 next month, and then the next month after that they said, okay, now the price is going to be 600%, and you're like, what the hell? All of a sudden your best laid plans are all messed up now because who can afford that? And so that's essentially what happened to them. Is these shipping containers went from 3,000 to 30,000, so a huge increase, and so it really messed up their entire business. So, and that's why they got shorted, and that they deserved it at that point because they didn't have a solution to it. But once the shorts got down into this range, they got super greedy, and that's just my opinion. Is once they came in here, they were just bleeding the stock off, knowing that the company needed to raise cash, and that's what they were aiming for, which was they needed to basically starve out the company and then make them dilute when they were down, which would have put them in a death spiral. And so that's what they were aiming for. But Aterian did something smart, which was they basically said, okay, well, we'll sell you. They did a private placement first off. They did an ATM that would have been absolutely disastrous. But they did a private placement. And then next, they actually did 6 months. You can't touch these low warrants. And as soon as that happened, basically, which was around I think it was in March. So it was sometime around here. They did this private placement, and that's what kind of set off this catalyst, which was, okay, we have an earnings coming up here on the 9th, and this whole thing's locked up for right now in the private placement, and also the low warrant is locked up for 6 months. They can't touch those warrants until right here on the 6th of, I think, September. So, you've got at least another 2 earnings before I think they actually have it. And those warrants are a long ways away for these shorts. So, just want to throw that out there. But, yeah, the business overall, is not that bad. I would like to see them raise some cash, hopefully maybe hitting some of these warrants higher up. And then at that point, I would love to see them actually continue some mergers and acquisitions and shore up their balance sheet. Because if this company had no debt, it'd be a very strong sign that they could really do something special in the future. And based off that, they still have a pretty low float. So, we've talked about that before. But yeah, the less volume makes DTC go up. Which indicator to the hedge funds may time to try and get out? Oh, you're saying less volume makes the days to cover go up. Yeah. So days DT he wasn't talking about the DTCC. He was talking about the DTC, which is days to cover with the short interest. So what he's saying is basically as the volume starts going down, so you see here the volume's dying off a little bit, right? So that means the days to cover it will start growing again. Like when we had like 145 million, obviously the days to cover is like less than a day. But all of a sudden now that we're slowing down again, these days to cover, it would take them longer to actually cover the shares that they're short because they're still shorting and the days to cover is starting to go up because the volume's dying down. So I think that's what he's saying. Raw Reed Gaming. Devin Reed, any thoughts of the SD data flop? I mean, I wish I was surprised, but like, that sounds about right. That just sounds about right. Think about this, like, out of all things, like GameStop has been at 100% utilization since February 8th. We have been at 100% utilization since March 8th. I don't know if AMC's on that. My guess is yes. But like all these major like retail popular stocks are all, I think, maxed out for like utilization. And yet when the FTD data is supposed to be coming out, at the end of, April, it's not there. And then it's, May, going to be May 2nd tomorrow, and they probably still won't have it out. And it's like, of course not, right? So that's my thought, Devin, is that sounds about right for the SEC to flub something really important like that. I know roughly, but I think a lot of DD. I know roughly, but I think a lot don't do DD well enough and would benefit from your perspective on the company. Yeah, Tom. So I'll probably need to write up. So I actually wrote up a really like about what the company does back in, I think it was the last, not this earnings, but the one before that. I wrote up like an entire DD on like what the company does, like in every aspect. It was like a really, really thorough, like what you would have seen out of like an Oppenheimer report. But I found that most people wouldn't read it because it was too long. So I started breaking these DDs down into like small segments, and I would just cover like a certain portion of them. Because I found that me writing that long DD, number one, took me days. And then once it came out, half the people were like, too long, didn't read. And I'm like, Jesus, like, why did I write that? But yeah, I do have one that if you go back in my history, it was called like the Ultimate Aterian DD. I think I even got like one of those like Arginium, I don't know how to say it, awards on it. Like it's the one that costs like something stupid like $10K or something. I don't know. It was a very expensive award or something like that. But somebody put that on one of my DDs. But yeah, I was going to say I did write up a pretty thorough thing about the company. And I probably need to get back to that, but I really need the numbers. So I'm looking forward to the May one. I'll write another thorough like DD, like a professional style DD, or at least the best I can do. But I'll have memes in it too. And I will try to get that out right after the earnings, because then that way we have a really good picture of what's going on. Because right now we're kind of in this limbo of like the last time we saw any information was like here-ish, and then really the numbers from December were like the last like official like off the 10K. So I would love to see what's going on as of here, see what the company's doing. So I think the GME folks think this is going to explode on June 3rd because of the EO. Yeah, you'll do me a favor. Just link me whatever you were talking about on Discord, and I'll read up on it, and then I'll write you back on it, or I'll cover it tomorrow and when I do a live stream. I just need. I don't want to give anyone like bunk information if I haven't prepared. So, Jimmy hasn't had much upside. Momo since the split downtrend, and still too high for retail. Yeah, and that's kind of my thought right now. GameStop, when they go through the split, that will give them power again, because your average person can't afford like thousands of shares at 180 or 150 even. Like at $5 a share, you can buy a shitload of shares. Apologize for my language, but like you can buy a lot of shares at $5 compared to like 150. Like it just retail will have a lot more power once GameStop gets that split going through, and they should have done it, in my opinion, a while ago. But I'm glad they're doing it now. Better late than never. So, what do you think caused this morning's run up? Could have been the market makers getting the stocks from last Friday's. Yeah, I mean, so with options, they have T+2, and they probably didn't do all of them, but they probably covered a decent amount today. I think they also wanted to shake the tree today. Like if you actually look at let's look at the 5-minute. They started out down here and had a spike up in the morning, right? And then this part right here, I think, was to basically shake the tree. And then they had to actually hedge at the end of the day. So this could have been some hedging. This could have been some de-hedging / shorting / just trying to really shake the tree out. Because obviously options are going to swing wildly around this time frame. So this right here felt like a nightmare if you were in options. I know, because I was playing some options, and I was like, I know it's going to go back up at the end of the day. I knew that, and I was like, all right. But, if you had been buying options on the way up here and then had to hold through this part down here along with theta decay, it didn't feel very good. But obviously we ended the day just fine, and, we'll see where we are tomorrow. But I don't think we didn't leave a gap, did we? Not much of one. Yeah, we should be fine. But you can sell. We're moving up. This was a nice move. Came back down, then we moved back up. And so what are we going to get? But yeah, that's probably what the price action could have been, them covering some not FTDs, but some options from Friday today, and then they might have covered some more, and they might have to cover a little bit tomorrow, or they might have covered all of them today, and then they'll attack the stock tomorrow. It really depends, but at this point right now, they do have to deal with the options chain, so I should cover this just a little bit. So I just want you guys to see, yellow is in the money. That's kind of how can you guys still see that, or should I go in a little more and just move it over? All right, can you guys see that? All right, so just showing you right here, right? You've got these down here. These are, I think, 250s. Yeah, here's the strikes. So you've got, this is 250, this is $3, 350. This is where there's a concentration of some, obviously, people buying deeper in the money calls, which is helpful because it allows there to be more of a base, because it looks like they're going to try to do what they've been doing each week, which is they load up this stuff right here, right, with these cheap puts, and then they just try to slide it right back in there, and then they have to, quote unquote, start hedging. But they're not hedging any of this stuff. What they're doing right now is they're putting out of the money puts, and they're trying to create this reverse ramp, and that's what they've been doing each week. Is they do this, and then they get enough short selling or short exempts to push it down into this range where they then have to go, oh, we need to hedge these puts. They don't bother hedging any of this shit, or else the stock would have flown. But we're sitting here now over 550, which means that this all right now, if by Wednesday they don't have this stuff hedged, they're going to have to start hedging, which means that the stock will probably move up. So, I mean, and then there's going to be more volume, even more tomorrow, because, I think some of the volume went to Redbox today, but I think the people will realize that those warrants at 11, once they hit, they're going to probably dump. So, I think some of them got dumped on today, didn't they? They got up to like 11, and then it like dumped down to 8 or something like that. But there's warrants up there, and that's what they're trying to hit. So that's what I was saying. Like, if you want to go and do that, it's a short-term like play, and then you need to get out quickly, because at any point, it's like standing on thin ice. Like, it's fine. You're not following through yet, but at any moment it can. So you got to do it quickly. Smooth brain present accounted for. What's up, Dave? All right. Electric green, we got that going. Black. Pink is the hot color. Orange, dark black. Sorry. That's how far behind I am. All right. Well, somebody said green in the beginning, so that's what I did. How many times did GME get the golden cross before it popped? It was a while. It took a while. Let's see. Is HCDI a pump and dump? I haven't looked into it, Willie, to be honest with you, and I need to do that. So I don't want to give you misinformation, but if somebody reminds me in the morning, I will take a look at it and see if there's any like warrants or anything like that. Nate said he's late, but that's okay. Better late than never. Keith S. is holding 80K shares in California. And I think he told me his roommate also has a bunch of shares too. What's the situation with the FTDs? There are no situations. They're just not out. They basically duplicated the previous month's FTDs, and figures, right? Yeah, executive order. Okay, so you were talking about the executive order, Wilma. Yeah, I saw the DD on that. That's the one about like the Chinese collateral, and then they basically would have to. Basically, some of their collateral is going to be worthless, which means that they then would be at risk for margin calls, or they would have to find other ways of propping up more collateral. So you'll see. You guys need to tip this dude for real. Everyone $2 now. Worth it. 100% pay for him. He sets time to educate dumb. No, you guys aren't dumb. You guys are here listening and you're learning stuff, and that's good. So, but yeah, I appreciate though. If anyone wants to tip, that's very nice. Let's see. What's up, Jeff? Don Daddy Papiano. Exactly, the guy was practically crying. Oh, yeah. I did catch some of this stuff. Yeah, sorry. When you guys were writing about the EO stuff, I was like, you have to link, but I think I know what you're talking about now. 31 in volume, traded 1.2 billion since March 8th, looking for 100 million volume this week. This can't be sustainable. No, it's not. I mean, on a stock that's got a 26 million free float, this is not sustainable. At some point, it will come to a head, and you'll just see a gap up, and they'll run it to 20 or something, or 30. Who knows how high it will go? But like, you'll just see a gap up and go, and they're just going to have to close out positions and go from there. I believe Max Payne's 450 at this point, so. We'll see if this is another week where, the market makers will try to be sly with that, out of the money puts and sliding it back in there. So, but yeah, I mean, if you talk about the stock, tweet about it, bring attention to it. I mean, obviously the stock's growing. I mean, I think we proved that with, just the Aterian sub, has gained, I think, over 5,000 members in the last, I think it's the last month. It was like over 5,000 members. Closing up some things. Okay. So, hope I had a great week with the fam. I did. Thanks. It's Hayosik. Yeah, I did have a great week with the family. It was good. It was good to recharge, and I feel better for this week. Like, I'm not coughing as much, and I think that I needed that extra sleep and the extra. I mean, kids still keep me up, but I swear to God, my kids wake up at like 5 o'clock on like Saturday and Sundays. I don't know why they do that, but my wife's like, you deal with them. I'm not dealing with them, so I have to deal with them. Man, the earnings FUD already started. Yeah, so here's my thing, and this is, there's not 200 people in here, so I just want to make this clear. What changes for any of you guys on their earnings? Did you guys buy in because you thought that their earnings were going to beat? Like, most of you, like, I'm going to be honest with, like, a lot of the people that bought into the stock didn't even know what the stock does. So now you're worried about earnings and about how Amazon, like, yeah. So listen, like, Aterian is going against the market right now. Like, the market's crashing and Aterian's going up. Like, it's disconnected from fundamentals. That's what I can tell you. So, like, if you're worried about earnings, yeah, they're going to probably attack the stock no matter what happens. It could be the best earnings in the world. It could be the worst earnings in the world. They're going to attack the stock no matter what. But they attack the stock every single day. And so what changes? Like, honestly, what changes for you that, like, you weren't all about? Like, does it change the fact that they have traded 1.2 billion in, like, volume since 100% utilization was hit on March 8th? Does that change because earnings? No. Does it change that they have FTDs and they're on the reg show now for the 14th straight day? No, doesn't change that. So, yeah, when people start talking about these earnings, I'm like, honestly, I don't get it. Like, straight up, I don't get where people's heads are, because, like, if most people came into this because they were interested in the short interest and also interested in, the company, and some of them were going long, and, like, this is an undervalued asset, and that's how I view it. So, like, I don't know why all of a sudden earnings changes anything that anyone was buying in for. So, that's just my take on it. I think it's silly, and I think you should tell people that, but that's my personal opinion. But I mean, we're not even dealing with, like, 30% of the stock getting traded on the lit exchange. So, like, you're not even seeing retail actually buying the stock. This is all happening through smart money. Like, the FTDs piling up, that's in the like T+3, when people buy their shares, that's what's causing some of these, like, spikes and stuff like that. So, not using a broker and buying on the lit. It's like an election voting, but your vote doesn't count, and only rich people get the vote counted. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. If you're rich, your vote counts, because you're using a broker that actually allows you to hit the lit exchange. That's what institutions do. They're the money. Or if you're just rich, you have a broker that makes sure that your stuff gets, on the lit exchange. If you're a retail investor, even like a rich retail investor, your stuff's not hitting the lit exchange. So, yeah. What's the karma requirement for the Reddit group? I'll be honest, I don't even know. I can't look at the auto mod, so I can't even tell you. It must be higher than, like, 100. That's my guess. Why not start a new sub before it gets bigger and more issues come up? I mean, I don't really want to be honest with you. But, like, if other people want to start one, I'm happy to join in and post there too. Like, it's up to you guys. You do whatever you want. I'm not organizing anything. I'll put it that way. So you guys do whatever you want, and if you want me to be part of it, just let me know, and I will contribute my DD there. I just bought 2 air conditioners from them. Yeah, they're good stuff, right? And Dave loves the squatter potty. Cecilia likes the squatter potty. Or I think that's arrows up, or it's 2 dots. I can't tell. They also have a butt coffee brand. And I skipped over it, but it's my favorite. Yeah, I think they have, like, a coffee enema. I don't know. I was gonna say I stay away from that. Yeah, coffee enema. Is Corey Kramer in here? I don't know who Corey Kramer is, but if Corey Kramer's in here, Drake Beast is looking for you. I feel like the grocery store, when somebody's like, is there a the 1996 Corolla outside with the lights on. Is Corey Kramer in here? Drake Blease is looking for you. All right. With earnings coming up, the Yahoo ticker shows a negative 2.85 earnings per share for the third quarter and a positive 15 cents for fourth quarter. Any thoughts on why the huge turnaround? Is it mostly... Yeah, I mean, they diluted in the past, and so obviously that's going to be helpful when they didn't have to do that. They was a private placement. The other thing is I think they are consciously trying to reduce how much they're spending. So, like, they also have less debt, and I think that will play a factor in some of these earnings. But, yeah, I mean, it's possible that you have a decent earnings and this thing flies. Yeah, and the shipping, they did partner with Amazon Logistics, and so that did cut down some of the like supply issues they were running into. So, yeah, we're gonna definitely see. Yeah, nobody should have an arm. If you have an arm right now, then wow. Arm loans went out back in like 2008, and I had a buddy that had an arm loan, and it was funny because they basically told him in the beginning, they were like, oh yeah, this thing's great. Like, as soon as you get in there, we'll get you another mortgage, but you get in with this low, like 2% rate. So, that's what happened. He got in, he got like a 2% rate. Everything was great. And then they reset the ARM loan. And then all of a sudden he was like at 6. It was much higher than everyone else. That like I had a 30-year fix at like 4.5. And I was like, hey dude, like, yours is now higher than mine. He's like, yeah, like I'm gonna try to get it refinanced. Well, it turned out he was underwater, so they wouldn't refinance him. And then the next month it went even higher. Then he was paying like 12% on the house, and so he ended up getting a roommate to try to offset some of the stuff. And then they reset it again to like 20, and he's like, listen, this is not affordable anymore. Like, I already got a roommate. Like, what am I supposed to do? And he went to talk to a lawyer. And the lawyer's like, stop paying your bills. And he was like, what? He's like, yeah, like basically like stop paying your bills. And once we stop, he's like, it's going to ding your credit, but like we're going to go to them and say, listen, this guy can't afford this anymore. If you guys want to keep him in the house and keep this going, we're going to get, a better, deal in place. We'll get you set up on like a 30 or 40 year, with a really low, APR, and that's what he ended up doing. So, but yeah, he had an ARM loan and it was terrible. So, yeah, but this is about Aterian, not housing. So, yep. All right, let's be honest. Wall Street Bets would have loved last Friday. Would really love to see all the 0-day FDs. It's not a nice thing. Don't say that. Okay. Let's see. Earnings per share has probably changed because the shipping costs came down. I mean, that's one element. That the other part is obviously like, I mean, ATER isn't really a fundamental play. I mean, I'm long on them. I think they're undervalued, especially back when they were like 2 to like 5, 6. Like that's fair. Let's see. So apparently, institution upgraded Aterian from a sell to a hold. Hey, I'll take that. Thanks for answering literally every question. I wish the CEO was half on point at the shareholder meetings. Yeah, me too. I understand they can't. The format's different also because they actually make you like ask questions. But I do remember somebody did ask about the naked shorting, and they did at least briefly address that. What's your price prediction this week? I mean, up. That's what I always say. But I'd be happy if we were able to even just finish around where we're at right now. Like, if we can just take these baby steps each week, like, I'd love to finish above 550. That'd be really ideal, because by the time Friday rolls around, that means that all this stuff could possibly be much, much higher in the money for open interest. And then at that point, I think that would push the stock slightly higher. But like, here's my thing. Like, I see a lot of people buying this stuff. And that's important, but at the same time, that's not how you maintain, like, they're going to try to push this down, and they're going to say, they're going to stack up this stuff right now because puts are cheap. Like, puts are pretty cheap. And they're going to all of a sudden start sliding it down one day, and they'll start putting on like the $6 and $6.50, puts at some point, and they'll push the stock down, and then this will cause like, some hedging to occur on the put side. And that's what they're going to go for. They've done it the last 3 weeks. It shouldn't be a surprise, which means that, like, if you're not basically buying down in this area, not financial advice, but I'm just saying, like, it's possible that they can get your stuff burned. So if like everybody was stacking, $5, and what ends up happening is this thing slides all the way down to, $4.50 or $4.40, all this stuff's getting burned. So it doesn't matter how much stuff you have up here. If you can't maintain this area down here to like keep pressure on these upper chains, then they're not going to be in the money. So that's just my personal how I'm looking at it. So that's why I particularly like these down here, because I think these are safer, and the market maker should be hedging those. But if we could just finish above 550, I'd be super happy. If we finish above 5, it will still be good. So even if we finish above 450, as long as there's like stuff in the money down here, then I'm good with it too. If we run up, triple witching is the third Friday of June. I don't know if this will last that long. But if it does, that could be huge. Yeah, somewhere near 550. If we start going over this port right here, we'll probably cap out around this area, is my guess. And at that point, I would imagine them to really attack the stock back down like they did last time. But, that would be a nice little run from basically like right here to, here. So we'll see. We'll see how much volume picks up. Volume picks up, then it is what it is. Yeah, but this could hit 750. Post the link for the DD. I'll read that. Oh, we're talking about DZ's DD? Yeah, you guys can read that. Here. I'm going to post it right now. I know I'm behind on the chat, but I'll post it right now. So anyone that wants to read DZ stuff. Hopefully you guys can read that, but let me go back and find. I'm trying to catch up. All right, so when he started throwing the gifts into the DD to keep the attention of the spoon, yeah, I do like my gifts. Yeah, so the options over at 520 would say that it should be probably over 750, but we'll see. That's my trademark, right? We'll see. I'm not committing to anything as far as like this stock can chop around a lot, so it's not fair for me to be like, yeah, this thing's going to $10 guaranteed. Like I do not guarantee that. That is that is not how I roll. I try to at least be fair, and at this point right now, they're fighting 550. They don't want it to go over, because if it goes over 550, then it's going to go to 6, because they will start having to hedge. Like once it goes into the 580s, they will start having to hedge all the 6s and some of the 650s, and it just changes the equation for the market maker. So I feel that hedgies are promoting other squeeze plays to distract from Aterian. Yeah, of course they are. They did this. Yeah, like they've been doing this for a long time, and that's why short squeeze always is like they want people to like FOMO and be like, oh my god, red box. I should have been in this. Yeah, it ran, and I told people, I was like, it can move. Like, it's got warrants up at 11. And what happens on a lot of these like small caps that are like in money issues, they actually have an underwriter that technically will allow them to, I think there's like literally a rule that allows the underwriter to pump a stock to get it to where their like warrants are so they can get out. Like, I think it's like some sort of like executive like privilege that these underwriters get. They can literally like push the stock up to where their warrants are so they can get out. I'll have to find that because I did read that once and it was like, wait, what? So like some of these small caps, that's what they'll do. They'll pump up to the warrants and then they'll dump. And so, all right. Yeah, the market doesn't care about your feelings. One was talking about the executive order. Yeah, I think I got that now. I'm so far behind. All right. Peep the meme I posted of Doofy in your Discord. That was probably like 20 minutes ago, so let me see. All right, I see that. Yeah. So just throwing it out there. If you guys are, obviously, you bought and held, make sure that if you want to, this is just market education. Have you disabled your lending? Do you want your shares being lent out? Some particular ones allow you to disable that. Others don't, but you should probably call your broker and just find out if your shares are being lent out. I particularly like, deep in the money calls when I'm playing these options, and if you can route to IEX or, a lit exchange, I recommend doing that. Just as any retailer, just general advice, I think you should have a say in where your shares, hitting the market. So, have you done DD recently on BBIG like you're doing with Aterian? I have not recently. When I saw the amount of warrants they had, this is like months ago. This is probably like, I don't know, back in December, January. I bought some BBIG back when it was like 2 a share, like low 2s or something like that. And that was my like, okay, I'll just buy a couple of these and forget about them. And then hopefully 20 years from down the line, they've turned into a huge company. And, that way I don't like FOMO. So, and on DD YouTube, yeah, I need to. I need to make a DD for everyone, like a video one. But at this point, it is what it is. So we should assume that the SEC failing to report accurate FTD data is just fuckery. Yeah, I mean it's not surprising. That's what I can tell you. Like, the SEC's not got their stuff together. Shocking, right? All right. Yeah, so the last time as the Gamma Squeeze volume hit 200 million, do you think it would take that volume to get over the hump? No, I mean, we're still moving up on lower volume than that, and it's, there's going to be lower volume just in general right now because the shares right now, I think they're hard to get. As the stock starts moving up and people start selling, then you're going to see some, like the volume will pick up because there's going to be trading shares quickly back and forth. So, nighttime FM and on radio show, it's became a routine. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Big. DM. In your opinion, how soon do you think before this rockets? I mean, I think there's a good chance before earnings or May 20th that this moves up significantly. That's what I can tell you. That's just my honest opinion. I could be wrong. I don't know. But Kristen says 17,500 shares here and buying more this week. Good stuff. This nightly stream labeled Aterian DD, which means about Aterian only. People need to stop asking about different stocks. Yeah, I mean it's fine. I can answer some stuff here and there, but I haven't looked into a couple of the different tickers you guys were asking about. If you want, you can write me on Discord and try to figure that out. And then I'm supposed to tell you guys to like and subscribe and set alerts or something. I don't know. Good night, Anon. Good night, yes. Have a great evening. Another squeeze stock I can't remember the name of. Yeah. Get a corgi. The corgi will deal with the kids. I don't have a corgi. I do have a dog, and I like him. But I do like corgis. Corgis are cute. All right. I bought the stock because the squeeze. That's what everybody said. Yeah, and everyone can buy the stock for different reasons. So I bought the stock not knowing what it is. Yep, that happens too. It dips. I buy more unless the company's going under. Yep, J-Man, that's kind of how it works on this stock. Craig said, I bought because I have a gambling problem. Hey, to each their own. But if you do have a gambling problem, then you should probably see help for that. Let's see. Don't forget about this ridiculous 200% cost to borrow. Yeah, they're paying a lot of money to keep shorting this, so it is what it is. Let's see. Do you think people see earnings as catalysts for the price? I mean, it could be. I mean, if they beat on earnings, this is over. Like, if institutions actually start buying in on the stock in large amounts because they're like, oh, they actually beat this, all the shorts, the shorts thesis is gone. Like, at this point right now, there's nothing left to say. Like, and their shares hit the lit exchange. So if an institution goes long on Aterian and says, I'm going to buy 4 million of these shares, the stock's flying. Yeah, I mean, so Brandon's saying, yeah, every meme stock gets nailed after earnings. Anything that's retail oriented, it doesn't really matter. Like, you could have a pretty good earnings, and we actually had like 2 or 3 earnings beats, and it still got pushed down every single time. So it doesn't matter. You certainly don't have to be rich to use Fidelity. They offer light exchange options every retail trader could use. Yeah, just make sure they can route to IEX, though, Ben, because I don't know if you can on Fidelity. Honestly, if they even miss on fundamentals, it doesn't really change. It's a growth stock, price barely above book value. Yep, that's how I feel. Like, right now, book value is like 423. We'll have a better number after May 9th, so I can give you a better book value. But for right now, we're using 423 because that's what it was last time. And how do I feel about the new CEO? The CEO is not new. My censored comment, CEO isn't new. The CEO, there's a new like CFO, I think. And he actually looked pretty good. They paid a lot for him, and they gave up a good amount for him, but he must be really good if it's, if he's getting paid that. Any thoughts on FitFi? I don't know what that is. Is that a stock, or I reverse mortgage my house to buy more ATER stock? Hey, I mean, do whatever you got to do, but be careful. I feel like no matter what Aterian's report is, it won't be good enough, and the hedge funds will try to spin it. Yeah, I mean, they've done that every single time. Like, we literally had that one earnings beat where the stock jumped up, and, I think it's right here. Like, I can show you. Like, it was this earnings right here. We actually moved up on this earnings. It was like $5. It was like right where we are now. It was like $5. And it gapped up and ran up to $8, and they had to short the entire thing down. Like, look how much shorts they used to just push this thing down, because there was like massive amounts of buying, and then all of a sudden they just hammered it down, and then the next day they hit it down, and then they wedged it back down. So like, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. Are we seeing a cup and handle in the weekly? take a look. Let's see. We need it to come a little bit higher. We need it to come up into this like 10 to 12 range, and then go down, and then we could see another wave up. So it's starting, is what I could tell you. And this kind of looks like Wyckoff also. So, I mean, go to the daily. Yeah. Yeah. But either way, I could see what you're saying, but it needs to come up higher than this mark right here. We need to see like 10 something. Which calls are y'all buying? Yeah, right now, if somebody said that the 250s were pretty fairly priced, we probably should go over that and just see what. Some people do have out of the money calls, probably taking profits, buying more in the money calls before Friday. Yep. You guys do whatever you need to do. All right, the May 20th $7 calls almost have 40K open interest. If we hit that, we fly. Yeah, I mean, if we're up there at that time, they're going to have to start hedging those, and that'll be like a drawing towards a magnet. Unusual whales May 10. Yeah, somebody sold $10 puts for over $10. It was like 100K premium. It's a very bullish bet. Yeah, my guess was, do you know if it was part of a leg of a transaction? Because usually they do those with another leg. But that's a very bullish bet, yes. No, the executive orders, that doesn't have anything to do with the warrants. That's something that has to do with underwriters of the warrants. It's a pretty common thing, too. So, all right. Yeah, so it's a very ballsy bet. The 20th, someone's definitely betting long on this thing, that this thing's going to go. So, do you think the volume is low because people are holding? Yeah, that's definitely look at the volume down here. Look at this. Like, this was a little bit of volume. This was a little bit of volume. But, like, this entire stretch down here, it was trading, like, 1 million shares. And now we're getting to the spot where, like, obviously the volume's higher, but we're trading, like, a lot lower than it was. So I think there's a lot more people buying and holding, and that's what's going to end up being part of the story. Any concerns about the FOMC meeting on Wednesday? I mean, we're already facing huge like headwinds. So I mean, what's one more? I mean, at this point, if anything, it might even be bullish, just because that's the opposite of what everyone thinks. Like, if everyone's bearish, then it will go bullish, just because they need to burn some of these puts, for the market wide to make some money, because that's how these things, whatever you think is logical, basically do the opposite and you'll make money. Especially with a SPY and stuff like that. Yes, says good night, Daddy. Good night, yes. All right. Okay, so you can route through IEX on Fidelity. So that's good. Yeah, just make sure that if you do switch brokerages, then you can learn how to do that, and it's not that bad. It's like a couple of different buttons, and then once you queue up the order, TD and IBKR use IEX. Yeah, that's how retail traders should be trading, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but I think people should let their shares hit the market. If you don't mind me asking, what's your personal horizon? Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it's going up, and I'm going to continue, that kind of thing. And the other portion of it is, I haven't seen any shorts covering. So at this point right now, I think there's still a short interest that's hanging out. And, I think if you know market mechanics, if shorts close their positions, it will send the stock higher. And so I don't really plan on closing my position until shorts have pushed my position way up and I can sell for a lot more. Or if I want to hold it and just, roll with the company, I may do that too. Like I said, I've been long on them for a long time, so I think they're undervalued, so I'm fine just buying. And, I bought down here. I bought higher than this. I bought up here. I bought all over the place. So but yeah, somebody was trying to put the company out of business, basically. Yeah, I mean, once they got down here, this was considered like death spiral financing, which is when you basically starve a company from like being able to raise capital, and then they would have probably gotten away with it had it not been for this trap that basically. Somebody set a trap for the bears / shorts, and now they're stuck in it. Pretty sure they were just single-legged $10 puts that were sold, 140K premium. Somebody sold $10 puts for June. Yeah, that's super bullish. For anyone that doesn't know, it's 4 a.m. in England. I can't tell you how much these chats make my day. Thanks, Howard. Just got here. What's up? What's up, Reza? All right. TD allows IEX ordering, but it's not by default. Yeah, you have to go and select it, and that's what I do. But yeah, let's see. Is there anything else going on? People did ask me to. I did post the thing for DZ. Let me just skim through real quick, and I did promise I would at least cover. Yeah. So DZ's a very smart guy, and if some of the stuff goes over your head, that's fine, because he all right, so he's basically showing you in the first portion that he basically used the example of a house that's getting like battered, and Aterian's been battered like a hailstorm and tornadoes, and retail traders have stepped in to try to repair the house. So this stock was getting beat down in this range, especially like in this range, and it's not just retail. It's retail and institutions. Somebody stepped in, like, largely and said, okay, that's enough. You guys got too greedy, and they bought in, and that's kind of trapped these shorts now. And things are obviously shifting. So, like, this whole area is, it's not going to be a perfect straight line up. So we're going to ebb and flow. And that's what he was saying about these waves. These waves are embedded within waves. So we're going to move up like in, different cycles and different, literally I think him and Pap and a couple other guys were talking about the Elliott waves. And, when they form these like, symmetrical patterns. And if you look at fib levels, they match up almost perfectly to like some of the fib levels. So this is all algorithmic trading. And he was also then, number 2, he was showing you the S&P 500, the QQQ. I think, what's the other one he was showing you? ProShare Trust. It doesn't show me which one, though. Maybe IWM, possibly. I don't, off the bat, I don't reckon. Oh, wait, he wrote it on the bottom. Let's see. It's UVXY. That's what he put there. UVXY, which is an inverse, I think they're called volatility. They basically track the M1 and M2 futures. For anyone that doesn't know, so the UVXY does not track the SPY. It's not inverse to the SPY. It actually tracks the M1 and M2 futures of the VIX. So anyone that's trying to play, like, the SPY goes down, I'll buy UVXY. That's not how it works. And that's why sometimes the SPY will go down and the UVXY is not changing. It's because it's based off the M1 and M2, meaning month 1, month 2, futures of the VIX. And the VIX is the volatility index. So just so anyone knows that. So he basically just showed you, like, the entire market's taking a crap and Ethereum's going up. And then section 3, how does that benefit Aterian? Basically, it's saying that like we actually made a decent run, especially in the last hour of trading when the market was completely selling off, which means that we're getting headwinds, but at the same time, we're showing that we actually have some strength. And then he went into number 4, the options analysts. He's basically going through and showing you that there was a ton of bullish like sentiment going in and bullish calls being bought and rolled over into this week. In conclusion, his opinion that all the ingredients are here to make basically another leg up. And the markets are eating a big turd sandwich, and Ethereum's somehow maintained a consolidation through a really bad and horrible week. And yet there's still another 10% of Ethereum's float that can be distributed via in-the-money call options this week. So he's basically just pointing out that Ethereum's doing very well for how crappy the market is. And so that's what DC's DD basically was covering and doing. Let's see. I'm looking at brokers. How do I know if it's hitting the lit? It would be IEX. I do know that TD and Fidelity offer light exchange. You have to go through settings, but there's videos that show you how to do it. That's right, Ben. And, once you start learning how to route, because you can choose your routing. Like on TD, you click trade, and then you go under, and then you can put down like a limit, and then at the very bottom it says where do you want to route, and it normally is defaulted to like smart routing, which means it chooses whatever one you want. But at that point, like you can select IEX, which is a lit exchange that is a lot more fairly run than most of the other ones. Megs, do you get tired of answering the same seven questions over and over again? A little bit, but it's fine. I mean, some people are new here, and so I'll do my best to answer, but I am getting tired. I'm going to cut it short for this evening. We didn't get FTD data, which I really wanted to get out, so I won't be able to do that. But in the meantime, I will finish my streams like always by, if you're not part of our Discord group, you can join. It is free, and there's a lot of smart people in there, and I will go ahead and link it here. So that is an invitation to our Discord group. Once again, it is free, so you can just join it. You just have to download it, and I'm in there a lot. And last thing is I do have a Patreon account if anyone is interested in making me a full-time streamer someday when I can just talk all day and go over stocks with people and do that stuff. I'd like to do it, but I can't do it until I have enough money to replace my current job. So I will continue just throwing it out there at the end of these things. And so if anyone wants to join me on Patreon and support me, that'd be appreciated. But I'm in the Discord and I'm not smart. Well, I was going to say, you're learning and you'll be able to help other people out in the future. And that's how I feel about a lot of people that are in there. A lot of people have learned a lot of things very quickly in that Discord, and it's a good place to kind of just bounce ideas and try to learn some extra skills. There's free resources in there. So good night, boss. Good night, Chris. Good night, guys. You have time to post a DD during midday? I try. I mean, I don't really have time to do any of this stuff, but I do try to get some information out during the workday. If I don't have a ton going on at work, I usually can knock one of those out in like 2 hours on my lunch break. It just really depends. Or sometimes I write them after I get off the stream, and I write them in the middle of the night and then save them as a draft and then finish them up during the day. So that's kind of how I've been doing things, but it also cuts into my sleep, so I'm trying not to do that. All right. you guys have a wonderful evening, and thanks for hanging out with me. And I will see you guys tomorrow in the Discord or on YouTube or wherever. But I'll stream again tonight or tomorrow night just to hopefully be able to get maybe the FTD data out if it's out. But if not, see you guys around. Have a great evening.